Hello, good afternoon. Monday the 15th of January, and just keeps on raining. I mean, snowing in the night, but
was it?
Yeah, snowing, yeah. You wouldn't have been up early enough to see.
Well, then that's not. How was that the night?
No, it was snowing in the night. It was snowing in the night. Snowing about 1:30. And I know.
I was up at 1:30.
It was snowing at 1:30.
I'm not having that.
And when I got up this morning, my car was white.
I think that was fake snow, just produced in your gated community.
Maybe. It was there this morning. I don't know whether should we talk about the game?
No.
Okay.
Did that final?
That summed it up. That was how good the game was. That was how good the quality both teams were. Should we draw? Should we arrange to have a draw before the game? Because that's what it looked like. These charges, PSR, more charges landing Everton's way, apparently. Be confirmed today. Nottingham Forest will also be charged today. Somehow Chelsea have got away with it, it looks like. Apparently you can spend 1.1 billion in the season, which is fine. And Wolves, who were selling everything, have apparently great through it as well. But for us, obviously, where do we go from here? Because there's loads of conflicting stuff around whether or not Everton will be given any extra points deduction. A lot seem to think it won't because they've been charged for 2 of the 3 years. As long as the third year shows a decrease in like debt or whatever, then that is seen as like moving in the right direction, so therefore would not incur a charge. I don't believe any of this, by the way. I'm just saying,
I don't believe any of it.
This is what is out there. And on top of that, obviously Everton have got a appeal in place for the first charge. And should that appeal be successful in any way, that then alters the numbers for the last one, which then would remove any possibility of points for this one. And that's how long and convoluted and pathetic it is.
It is. It's nonsense. And I'll be honest, and with all due respect to anyone out there who's predicting what will happen.
Oh, yeah.
I simply can't listen to any of it because, the first time, proved that anything can happen. Getting charged in the first place when there was stadium stuff and all kinds, and then to get to 10 points, I simply can't believe any what anyone predicts, because how can you predict anything when it's basically they've got a free reign, a free hand to do what they want, whatever they want, and I just don't understand that we've got here. I don't understand again a system that is, how can we be punished? How can we be punished for 2 years that we've already been punished by, and those 2 years might be dragging the third year down? We might have gone over by a couple of million quid, or maybe it's probably more. But that couple of million quid might be from the first 2 years, which is, how can you be punished twice for the same 2 years? That doesn't make any sense.
Nonsense.
So, yeah, I mean, as I said, we will be punished, and we know we'll be punished because it got leaked to the papers, and it's been getting leaked to the papers for weeks, and that's all you needed to know. That's all you need to know about the organisation that are doing it to us. They've created a market for these stories, which is a disgrace on its own. Stories getting out about the punishments, about what the Premier League wanted the first time round, and now it's been out. Major journalists have been dropping it into articles for weeks about a second punishment, and then putting a little caveat if Everton are punished. And then if David Ornstein puts it on, then he's been given the nod. These journalists wouldn't run stories like that. They've got too good. I
mean, some of them would. We've seen that.
No, but
most
not
decent ones.
Not. They wouldn't be given the stories in the first place. They wouldn't be given to people like Ornstein. It's I mean, that's another, like, why? What? Who does it serve to leak these stories? Is it like a way of going, look, they're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. It's not
don't
us.
Look at City. Don't look at Chelsea.
They're the bad. Oh, that's terrible. And that's why, again, I think they'll try and throw the book at us again. They clearly want to use us and a team like Forest as the examples to show that they are clamping down and that they can run their own ship ahead of, Commons committee meetings and changes in the law and all these kind of things. And it stinks to high heaven. That doesn't, by the way, excuse us as a football club, because we've been run very, very poorly by the owner, by the former chairman, and by the former CEO, and they have to take their part of the blame as well. But as I said, obviously we'll hear today that we've been done. Obviously, we won't have a punishment at this stage, but it's very, very worrying. It's very worrying, and you start to question what is even the point of going the match, or you know what I mean? Because it feels, a lot of it feels predetermined.
I've said it for a while. The league is WWE. Told you. Everything is plotted so they get what they want. At the top, teams at the top. Everton and Forest are sacrificial lambs, because Everton are a big enough club that it makes a splash, but they're not in a club that's affecting their clicks and all that. And Forest have been promoted. Look, we're not going to let teams that are promoted just spend money as well, and we're gonna do them. It's just ridiculous. The whole thing was put in place to stop football clubs going out of business, but these are trying to drive Everton out of business. It seems hampering. Putting illegal points deductions in place, because they are illegal. The whole thing, none of it adds up. It's not done in any sporting thing, for any sporting venture. It's done for them to do what they want. You can't have a league where one team can make 750 million in a season, like Man City, in the same league as Everton. We've had to sell all our good players. Anywhere with their bottom in the net spend over 5 years or something, whatever it is. That doesn't sound like a team that's trying to cheat its way. Everton's big mistake is they should have just kept Goodison Park and let it fall down, because clearly they don't want you building new stadiums and paying for it yourself, because without the stadium, this wouldn't be a thing. And that's just the way it is. But that's not real. We have to, how are we supposed to attempt to catch up when we can't? We're at the ceiling at Goodison Park. There's no more money to be made at Goodison Park unless they triple our season tickets and things like that. And that's the way it is. And I said this in my Mathew actions yesterday. You've got Newcastle and you've got Villa, are two teams who are trying to fight their way into the reckoning. And I've heard Unai Emery and I've heard Eddie Howe saying things like, we might have to sell one of our best players to make sure we can play. So they can get. So what you're saying is teams like them who are doing really well get so far down the line, and then you don't allow them.
But even Arsenal.
No, Arsenal spent a hell of a lot of money though as well.
But they can't spend any more.
No. So you'd have to get to a position where you look at the whole game and look at it and say, right, what's fair and what isn't fair? Because competition is about anyone can win. That's the pure means of it. Everybody should go into a Premier League season thinking we could have a good season here. Could we get in the top four? Could we? No, it's always difficult because teams are better, but you should always have that hope. You shouldn't have the hope of, for 14 teams, just hopefully we can stay up. What's that? That's not football. Just surviving, but then surviving for what? Just to be in a competition that's just weighted in the favour of a few teams.
Just to be the opposition
for the
top six.
It's not. The whole thing is, it's eating itself now, and that's the problem. And people, I get it. Listen, if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're a Man City fan, you might look at that other teams and look at the likes of Everton and just be like, oh, it's just sour grapes because you're not near the top. But the minute Liverpool's nose was pushed out of joint, their fans are fully on side. You know, before Klopp turned it round, they were fuming with how the Premier League was and the money and got to stop these people coming in. Now, okay, Klopp's come in and done magnificent with Liverpool. They've made profit and they've done it a different way, to be fair to them. They've still spent a lot of money, but they've earned a lot of money as well. So they've done it a different way. But they were already a huge brand.
Yeah.
Already. And they've had to be almost perfect, haven't they, to be able to keep up with City. But it's difficult for others. Not everyone can do that. Of course they can't. And it's getting more and more difficult to be able. So unless the league,
you'd have to make yourself so big, like Manchester City have.
But how do you do that?
But they were they had one foot in it before the FFP change, and then whilst they already done that, they managed to circumvent it all because they're a sovereign nation and therefore they're attached to all kinds of sponsors as well, and therefore that's how they did it. They managed to hide their discrepancies using sponsors and stuff. You know, we had our own version of that pulled away from us because of the war in Ukraine. And that's pulled that away from us. And sadly, we are. I mean, you mentioned the stadium, and I don't blame the stadium for where we are. I blame the fact that we couldn't get funding for the stadium for where we are. I know they are. It's slightly. It's probably the same thing, but you know what I mean. We of course needed a new stadium, and we had to be brave, and we had to be ambitious. And we are being punished for that ambition. You know, and again, that ambition becomes that's we're being punished because of circumstances, because of COVID, and of course, again, because of a war, and because everything has gone up and the prices have tripled. Spurs did their stadium just before. I mean, again, it's just typical Everton, isn't it? Spurs come along and do theirs, and it gets done just before COVID, and before the world started to go a little bit mad, whereas we didn't. We didn't have the funding in place in terms of someone to lend us the money, or we hadn't agreed it because we couldn't get what we want, and now it's having to be done through lenders who were charging too much, Sherry, MSP, and it's a mess, and it's a mess. Even though it's magnificent and it's there, it's a mess. But it's not dragging us because again. You can't just go, it's that thing. It's the thing of not building a stadium for 25 years that has put us in this position. It's cause and effect. It's all these things. It didn't start with, with a war. It didn't start with COVID. It started, these seeds were planted years and years and years and years ago, and now they're fully bloomed, but in the most spectacular way possible, and it's added into culminating in new rules which don't help anybody. I just don't know how these rules help anybody, especially people like us. And again, we're in just a ridiculously turbulent time where we probably thought a couple of months ago we was just starting to get our heads above water, just thinking about better days, possibly not better days in terms of we could win something, or we'll get Europe. Although some people did think we could get Europe, which who knows? That's the dream, isn't it? You've got to still have the dream. That's what gets you to the game every week. And we just looked like we were just getting our head, and then someone come along with a big hand and pushed us back under again. And this feels like now they're dragging us to the bottom. They've put a big chain on us and they're dragging us to the bottom. And it's really difficult to see a way out. That's the real hard part. You'd have to be the most positive Everton fan out there. And I know there still are a lot of positive Everton fans who see things in a different way, but you'd have to be the most positive Everton fan. So almost plot a course. And that's the most difficult thing as a fan, isn't it? As a fan, you go to match and you go week by week and you go, right, we're playing them and we're playing them and we're playing them. Oh, we might get 3 points and we might get a point and we'll probably lose that. And that's how you plot through your... But when suddenly people start putting up these extra things, going, well, we've got Spurs, we've got City, and then we've got an independent commission. Like it just shouldn't factor in, should it? It shouldn't factor in.
It's just nonsense.
And it's not even an irony, but the crazy thing about this is, the absolute crazy thing about this situation is, and this is where I just think it goes past football into something stupid, is if obviously what happens today, us and Forest, we both appeal, we go to a commission and we appeal it. The appeal will not be heard till after the end of the season, which will basically cock it up for everybody. Like Sky will be sitting there last game of the season going, yeah, if the points is like, it's like, what's the point anymore? What is the point in having something where we already see the excitement of goals being taken away from us, and we saw that yesterday with the VAR taking all that length of time for something that should have been so simple. We already see joy being taken away from the game. Now you're going to see joy and the heartbreak taken away from lots of different things by circumstances. And like, you know, what happens if Manchester City get punished at some point, or the commission comes up at some point and they get handed down something and then they win the league and everyone goes, oh, they've won the league. And it's like, yeah, but have they won the league? Because they're going to take it to appeal, and then who knows? It's like, we're just going to end up doing football in court.
But that's where we are now.
No, I know, but that's what's the point anymore then?
Richard Masters' plan.
What's the point? That's what I'm saying. No. So how do you get yourself up for going the game to go, I want to watch Everton play whoever? Does the result of this game even matter? Because we already know that we've given a 10 points deduction, or they're just sucking the life out of the game in every way, and that's the difficult thing.
Stephen Lee on the super chat, thanks Steve, says, honestly think the Premier League are hell-bent on relegating us. Forest could be punished too, but nothing being said about Chelsea and City. It's totally corrupt.
And the other side of it is, that when people say, and you do see the occasional person say it, but when people say, oh, you cheated. See, that's another thing. It's like, but how do you know what when you say we cheated, how do you know we cheated? Because we might be over the 105, but so are quite a few teams. It all comes down to what they are prepared to take as, and obviously the first one was they weren't prepared to take stuff on the stadium and this and that. So it's like, well,
but they had done previously.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's a case of like, well, Chelsea might have cheated, or Wolves might have cheated, or
Wolves did cheat in the Championship.
But it's all to do with what you class as cheating or not cheating. All it is what the Premier League are prepared to take as as buybacks. And for you as a football club, you might go into that room, completely head held high, going, no, this thing is a legitimate thing that is part of it, and they just go, no, it's not, because actually in section 7 of blah 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 in the glossier, should you check the index? Do you know what I mean? It's like that again. That's not how football. That's not how football is should be played or dealt with. Or so when people go, "Oh, you cheaters," it's like, well, if there was a number, and you went over the number and nothing else matters, then you can go, yeah, oh yeah, we did cheat. We went over that thing, but that doesn't. That's not even the way it even works either. It's what they class. And on another day in that independent commission, they could have gone, oh yeah, that's sound, yeah, it's sound, yeah. Have you got the receipt for that? Sound, no worries. But on that day, they decided, no, you're not having that. And again, that's the other side of it. It's just, and it's 10 points. Where'd you get 10 points from? I don't know, just round number, innit?
Yeah.
Just a round number.
Sounds nice.
Seemed like Forest might walk in and they go, 7. When someone asks you what lottery number to put on, 7. But how did you get them to come to 7? Francis wore number 7. Forest, that just come into my head. Then
there you go.
It's like, and this is why I just. It's not even like sour grapes to me. It's just, show me you're working out. Show me you're working out. Show me how you came to that decision.
You should never be taking points off teams, though.
No, I know.
It should never, ever be taken. There's no universe in which you take points off teams unless they play players who aren't registered. Should be the only time. And a couple of clubs have done that and just got away with it, Liverpool, amongst others, recent times. Points should never even be up for debate.
No.
And then points, fine Everton if you want. Fine them 30 million and we have to pay it back.
Look at the Reading fans the weekend. Reading fans.
That's what's going to happen.
Reading fans had to run on the pitch. They had to get the game, called abandoned, because their club is run so badly that it's coming back on the fans again and again and again and again. And they've had points deductions. Luton were getting them so often that they ended up in the National League. We've seen what happened to Derby. We've seen what happened to really, really good clubs because bad owners have gone in and made a mess of the situation. But what's the constant? What's the thing that is always there? That the people that will always suffer is your fans. And I just, to me, it's just. I mean, I know we've spoke about this so many times, but again, it's like the rolling 3 years.
They can't think that Everton fans are just going to take this.
I mean, I can't speak for Everton fans.
No.
As a whole,
what I mean is, you can't think no football fans would accept this after time and time again. There will be disruptions. Now, Reading fans have shown the way. So who's to say Forest fans or Evertonians won't do that when the Premier League game's there? Go and sit in the middle of the pitch. Game called off. Highlights it all. What are they going to do?
What difference does it make?
What are they going to do? Because they're making it up as they go along anyway.
Yeah, if they walk in and go, well...
So what are they going to do to Forest? We'll give you... Your fans are on the pitch are going to give you another 10 points. Go on then. Because we'll just keep doing it. And you won't be playing a game. We'll play behind closed doors. It's all right. Because we'll speak to everybody. Yeah. We'll speak to everybody, which highlights what you've done to this football club in this nonsense league that people still proclaim to be the best in the world. The biggest... It's like, honestly... You've been sold bloody snake oil that this is an entertaining league. It's garbage. Go and actually take the rose-tinted glasses off and watch a game of football. It's crap. Absolutely crap. And all that we're doing is, they've got us by, of course they have, they've got us on the hook, of course, because we're all in. And yet you sit there and watch. I sat there yesterday and watched a mid-table team against a team that is in a title race. And what a load of shite that was. Boring crap game. I watched games at the weekend. Jag games. Okay, City, Newcastle was all right. But again, refereeing decisions and failures to put flags up when they're offside and everything else that goes on. Nonsense. Terrible, terrible quality level of football in the Premier League. And that's with them helping teams, certain teams near the top who need a penalty or whatever, so they get them. It's garbage, and yet we're told every week it's amazing. This is great, this league. This is amazing. It's not. Shite. And it's ruined because you have interfered when it was an unbelievable league. Football was incredible. Great sport. What a sport. And you just go in and watch it. What a game. And, there's definite improvements that have been made to the game. Wouldn't disagree with that.
The mad thing was, for 26 years, we had one team, or it might be 26 years, sorry. We had one team who absolutely dominated the Premier League in Manchester United. And everyone was pretty fine with the way it was. Do you know what I mean? It was like, even though they dominated, no one went...
Seems to Arsenal broke it up a bit. Liverpool should have won.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People went after them and tried to stop them, but nobody said, this is getting too much now. We have to change. We have to change the way it is, and that's the irony of the whole situation. It is when it wasn't broke, we had one team dominating, and now of course we have got City dominating. But it is crazy. It is crazy, and I know, like obviously Chelsea and their wealth sort of were the reason why it all started changing. But the game to me has been soulless and a bit of a mess for a very long time.
It's just sad though.
No, it is. It is sad
because you want to just go the game. You want to just be concentrating on the football, and you want to have that belief. You want teams like they were doing well, like Villa. You want them to be your blueprint to go right. Let's like look what Villa are doing. That's brilliant. Now can we match that? Can that be our goal to try and get in? And loads of clubs should have that ambition. But the reality is, it's not real.
No. Well, they've sold the dream of being in the Premier League as the dream.
That's it.
That's the dream. The de facto Super League, that's the dream. You see it when teams come up. And I appreciate when teams come up. It is a big thing, of course. But they've sold that dream.
Listen, it's unfair as it is, right? It's unfair. Forget about points deductions, right? And things like that. It's unfair the way it is anyway. Then the bigger teams are favoured. The bigger teams are put on TV more. So the bigger teams earn more money. So that you're already up. You're already fighting it immediately without anything else. You're battling.
And no one said anything about that for 30 years. No. About the TV thing, which is the biggest. It's the biggest load of nonsense ever.
But it created
no one's ever caught onto that. No. Why are you? So someone decides when you're on telly and you get more money for it. Oh, that could be used in our favour, couldn't it?
Mate, this is how the Sky 4 were able to break away from everybody else in the league, because they were constantly on. Some teams are guaranteed 6 games, and Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle for a bit, wasn't it? But Manchester United in general were given 25 games a season or something.
And you wonder why they don't want every game on live. You wonder why you wonder why they don't want every game on live.
Because it's not for us as the fans, honestly.
It would. See, when they always say the money is spread, it isn't spread, because if you're Man United and you're Liverpool, you're on live all the time. It's why they've just changed the thing. So the games on a Sunday, all the 2 o'clock games are all live, because Liverpool weren't getting on telly. And I'm not having a go at Liverpool for that part of the way.
Listen, Liverpool are a huge... I understand. If I'm in charge of the TV, then I want Liverpool on telly and I want Man United on telly, because they bring the most eyes. I get it from a business perspective. I understand it. But if you flip it round the other way from a football perspective, it's bollocks, isn't it? The whole thing is nonsense. Liverpool have had to do it to some respects. They're trying to balance it. You know, you've heard Klopp in the past going, we can't really do it with the money, whatever, do you know what I mean? But Liverpool probably would have had enough money to go and buy that next player. Really. But then they were obviously trying to stay. I get that, but it's easier to be like that when you're at the top. It's easier to be prudent when you're already there.
Of course it is. When you're
trying to help and
when you've got a share deal that you're probably getting 80 million before you even start a year or whatever it is. It's not that hard, is it?
And their revenue over the last 3 years or 5 years, no, 3 years, isn't it? Liverpool's revenue to Everton, well, ours is $500 million and this is 1.67 billion. In the same city, in the same league. The wage bill's more than double Everton's wage bill. I'm not going to go to Liverpool and saying that's the wealth even within our city. I'm not saying it's a London club or whatever. There will be those disparities with like Brentford and Arsenal, won't it? Then you can use them same disparities right the way across the league, probably. But so what we're saying is, even without all of the other stuff, it's so difficult anyway to try to catch them teams out. So you're already...
So how do you bridge the gap?
So you can't.
But how do you bridge the gap?
What the Premier League would say is, right, what you have to do is stay within.
I'm just trying to think of like...
What you have to do, Ped, is get 5 wonder kids in. Yeah?
No, I'm thinking of something else. See, I think if you were to improve your facilities...
Well, no, that helps, of course it does.
Maybe if you were to play at maybe like a better ground... With more...
But we're going to punish you to play there.
More seats. That might help.
We're going to punish you, though, while you get to there.
Something that might look good for the whole Premier League product and maybe would look really nice within like a European Championship bid, maybe.
And also bring employment to the deprived area.
Maybe we should try that.
But what we're going to do is we're going to punish
build a big monster truck arena.
I mean, that's what it might end up being. No, listen, I get it, and there'll be people who aren't Evertonians who will sound like we're bleating, but like we've said with VAR stuff, it'll come and bite you on the arse, and it will bite Liverpool fans on the arse if it carried on the way it was, because they won't be able to bridge the Man City gap.
Biting.
And it's biting Newcastle and Villa. Biting. Liverpool are already in it different, but what I mean is, imagine if you're a Liverpool fan, and a few of my mates who are Reds, and good Reds, by the way, they do say, without City's thing, no, like we would have been, we could have had a couple more. And they're absolutely right. City got a big boost, a big jump, because of the way they did things, and Liverpool had to do it a different way. Yeah. So that's what we're saying. So even on that level, you might have had, if you're a Red, you might have had 3 Premier Leagues in the last few years rather than 1. And that's what we're saying now about Newcastle fans and Aston Villa fans, Wolves fans. I've seen a Wolves, and it won't be all Wolves fans because I've seen it in the thing, but
if you're a Liverpool fan, surely you've got to ask yourself the question. You've got these rules in place that are like, let's say John Emery sitting there going, I'd like to throw some money into this team because I'm getting a bit sick of Man City when and they're like, you can't because of these rules. And he's like, and then you look at Man City and go, well, hang on.
How are they doing?
How are they doing it? And why have they got all these charges and no one's doing it? Surely you'd look at it and go, wouldn't it just be better if it was all just a free run? I know they go, well, because Liverpool have got really close to Manchester City.
Yeah.
By even with having the shackles on. So if you take the shackles off Liverpool,
then they could dominate.
They go, my God, you go. We've got a brain trust here that's been working with an answer behind its back. We've developed the club. We've got the stadium looking amazing. Blah blah blah. If we had the shackles off, we'd push these all the way because we've done it in the Champions League and we've done it in the Premier League. And again, as I said, all these. And I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself. The amount of times I have to go in the comments of different videos, not necessarily these ones, because people, but where you're getting abuse. I mean, it's not even like when we went to Forest and they're singing about us being cheats. And that worked out well, didn't it, lads? It's like football fans have to start. Football fans have to start getting on the same page as each other, because what they're doing is they're just pulling us apart. That's what they do. That's what any big organisation does. We see it with governments all the time. They pull you apart. They point at someone else and tell you they're to blame for all your problems. But football fans have to start getting together and going, they're taking the game away from us. And every year, I say this all the time, and I apologise for repeating myself, but I say it all the time. Every year, people complain about ticket prices or ticket allocations for finals and semi-finals and the trains and kick-off times. But no one ever gets together and does anything about it. They just point and go, oh, that's your problem. Oh, look at Newcastle have got to go to Bournemouth for a 12:30 kick-off. That's funny, that. Or a 7:30 kick-off where there's no trains coming back or whatever it is. And everyone just points and laughs instead of saying, that's shocking now, we need to do something about it. That's what they've done to us in this country, in every walk of life. Where in places like Germany, fans stand together and go, well, if they do it to them, they'll do it to us. So how they got rid of Monday Night Footy in Germany, because all the fans just went, we're not going. We're not having it. We're going to do something about it. And they did. They did something about it. They said the weekend's over on a Monday. You don't have Monday Night Football. The weekend starts on a Friday and it goes till Sunday. Monday's the start of the next working week. Yeah. Simple as that. How can you enjoy going to a game on a Monday night?
They just binned it, didn't they?
They binned it because they just said we're not having this. Because because the fans have got the power, which we have, but we don't use it. We do not use the power in this country. Because ultimately, if there were empty stadiums, but clubs trick you, Premier League trick you, you've got to go. I have a little theory about our own football club, about this waiting list. When I hear the numbers of Everton's waiting list, I just think to myself, yeah. Is that what you use to make sure we don't give up our tickets, that we don't miss out on moving, that we will pay the increases that we have to pay, even though we're watching worse football? You just keep on bringing that waiting list out. And it keeps on growing. Yeah, there's things like that I do look at and think, nah, that's a load of bollocks. That is show me the numbers. Show me the big list. Because they will. Football.
It is. I just, again, listen, I'm not cry-arsing because Everton haven't been given a penalty all season when they should have been. And I just think it's a load of bollocks. Because, like I said, I just couldn't believe I'd said this on when we'd done more than a game, and most Newcastle fans were like, yeah, we know, and a couple were like saying it's a load of nonsense, we've got all the money in the world. And then you hear Eddie Howe saying, we might have to, it might be a situation where we have to look about selling one of our players, Bruno or something, and then you're like, what? Exactly. And then Villa, Emery's like, we might have to sell Ollie Watkins to be able to complain. How are these clubs going to... They're doing well. How do they keep doing well? Oh, no, I know. We'll make sure we get rid of their best players, so you've got to keep... What a load of bollocks. I don't hear the league going. So Liverpool got to sell Mo Salah just to comply, or Man City, you got to get rid of Haaland or Kevin De Bruyne, or whoever. Do you know what I mean? So how do they get in? We know any football fan who's got 2 brain cells, not just the ones who can only do pure, blind, biased, view from only there. If they just took a step back and had a look and went, right, people have mentioned cheating with Everton, right? So how have they cheated? Let me look at their playing squad in 2021 and I look at it now.
Yeah.
Just go and look at it. Our playing squad had good players in it. They weren't top draw. They weren't crazy. We weren't Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal level players. We had decent players. And just go and look at that squad from then to now. We've had to chop all of the players who were players who make a difference. We've lost Richarlison. We've lost James Rodriguez. What happened to Gylfi Sigurdsson was nothing to do with Everton. He had to go. We've had to sell players. We couldn't give Yerry Mina another. I'm not saying we would have done, but that was off the table anyway because we wanted. But I think they liked the idea of keeping Connor Cody, but they just couldn't spend the money.
Even like under Townsend.
Townsend would have got another contract. We'd have been okay. He'd have got another deal. We've had to just keep going. Alex Iwobi, whether you like him, don't like him, it was good, it was bad, whatever. We simply just sold him to bring the money in to keep the books. And when you look at it now, you look at the squad, it's been chop down to nothing, barely anything. And if you've got a team and look and go, like Everton, all right, let's take Everton. They're the ones who've got a points deduction, and they're, us and Nottingham Forest apparently might be getting done. Well, will be getting done today, at whatever level. Like, I'll just have a look at Everton's net spending because they must have been spending all kinds of crazy money. And you see Everton are third from bottom in the net spend. The only 2 teams are Luton and Brighton, who have spent less than Everton in that time. You'd go, hang on.
What can we do?
Right, so that team that doesn't spend any money is building a new stadium despite a global pandemic, a war, and global pandemic and a war in these difficult times. So we've got sanctions within that time because we've lost a huge amount of money which would have paid for half the stadium, and that's gone, as well as a big hole in our spot. So you've taken all that off us, which is again 3 things on top that aren't normally there. A global pandemic, building a brand new stadium, and a war. So take that into account, and there's no mitigation there. You look and go, hang on. How is, so this club that doesn't spend any money and it's got that and that on top of it, how are they the cheats?
It is somewhat ironic, though, that we are sitting here nearly a year to the day, when we did a big show this time last year about following the Southampton game and following what had allegedly happened at that game. And, we obviously spoke about the people who were involved on that day, and we're sitting here a year later having to deal with the consequences of what they have left at a football club as well. And that the rules are all against us, but those people have.
Of course.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm just adding to it.
I wouldn't.
Everything that you're saying is absolutely correct, but what I'm saying is though
we've played our part.
These people have played a massive part in this by not even looking at the rules, going, we better sort ourselves out. Then if we have got if these rules are a joke, but we better sort ourselves out.
Yeah,
and they've just, the likes of Baxendale
just sloped off with
just
a big
gone away,
bonus.
took away with a big bonus in, and whatever she was in a year, which I believe was substantial. They've all gone away.
Ingalls, the accountant,
on a bed sheet. The accountant. And these certain people wondered why fans protested. I seen the video doing the rounds yesterday of certain people at the ground at the Arsenal game when the walkouts happened, calling fans who walked out cop-outs and stuff like that. You know, all that kind of
They
stuff.
must feel it. Then Evertonians must feel ashamed, though, for saying.
Well, I hope they feel ashamed.
Nobody must do.
I hope they feel
You can't
ashamed.
be a genuine Evertonian and not feel ashamed.
Because people saw all this coming a long way off by the people who run our football club. You know, Denise Barabaks and Fad Mashiri, obviously major culprit.
Rod says, how come the fake Iranian billionaire isn't being sanctioned? Accountant, I ask.
Yeah. Then, you know, but that's the point, isn't it? We sat here a year ago and we discussed it. What was happening to our football club, and you know, people protested. We knew this was coming a long time ago. A lot of people just sat on their hands, didn't see it coming, but a lot of us did see it coming. Sorry, Farid, Denise, Bill Kenwright. I'm sorry to bring up his name, but they have to be. These people have to be brought to account. It's as simple as that.
Farid. You've just called him Farid.
Yeah.
Is that because his head's miles away?
Because his head's massive. These people need to be looked upon. Know what I thought was really sad yesterday, and again, might get stick for this. Not a mention of Peter Johnson's passing at the game yesterday. Not one single mention of his passing.
Former chairman,
last chairman to win us anything. Not a mention of him.
Just being put up.
Not
surely.
a mention. Just on the screen, was it? The former chairman. I was embarrassing
that we won
yesterday.
a trophy.
I was embarrassing yesterday, Everton Football Club. Embarrassing. The last chairman to win anything. Doesn't matter what you think about him. I'm not rewriting history about him, by the way. The last chairman to win us a trophy, and not a mention, apart from just putting it on the screen before the game and going, oh, we did that. That to me. There's still certain people at that football club who need to go if that's the decision they're making. Oh, I don't want to upset anybody. Fucking hell. Honestly, I don't care what you think about the man. Now we all wanted him gone, but yeah, the last chairman, and the fella who we sold the club to. Jesus Christ! I thought that was sickening yesterday. Sickening. Just mention him, let people clap for him or whatever. Show him some respect of the fact that he actually was a chairman of a football club. Anyway.
No, listen. It's not, what can you do?
But we have to, all I want to do as a football fan, as an Everton fan, all I want to do is draw a line under all this. That's all I want to do. I just want to draw a line on it and go, that's what used to happen. That's what our club used to be ran. That's what those people did. I would love to just draw a line. I just don't know when we can draw a line. And that is
you can't draw a line until we're out of this.
No, I know
that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, isn't it? Every time we feel like we can draw the line, it just feels like someone punches it in the back and goes, yeah, has another one. It's just like...
I look at it, listen, that's very much us. I would never sit here and just blame the Premier League or just blame whatever. We played our part by running the club poorly. Absolutely we did, but it doesn't take away the fact that these rules are nonsense.
No, yeah.
They're nonsense. How are you supposed to... How can Newcastle have loads of money and not be able to do anything with it? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying just open the doors and let them spend 400 billion in it. Of course not. But what I'm saying is, the way they are, that was what frustrated Usmanov and Mashiri. That before that war took hold, we know they said to Carlo Ancelotti, we want to spend 200 million in the next transfer window. Right? Now, we'd have been done then, wouldn't we? Because we'd have had bloody 200 million gone. Because they were under, and I remember Sasha Ryantsev, who was Everton's finance fella, at one time, adamant, because they'd been told that the rules were getting changed. The profit and sustainability rules were getting changed. So Everton were erring on that side. And if you're an Evertonian, you'll remember Carlo Ancelotti saying, you're trying to do Everton. You want to have a look at other clubs first. But they were coming at it from a point where they thought them rules were getting changed. There was big noise about the rules getting changed and owners being able to put a bit more money in. But that was nearly 3 years ago, and they haven't changed. And Everton spent money, but he didn't spend... I can't reiterate it enough. We didn't go and blow 300 or 400 million in advance. We didn't do it Chelsea, did we?
Just from a very practical point of view, though, there's one fundamental issue with these laws straight away, which they don't go up with inflation.
No.
They don't go with inflation.
No.
It's just a number that sits there every year. But everything goes up. Everything goes up. In this country, everything seems to go up.
Simon Jordan's apparently, I don't know where he's got it, that Everton have failed by 9 million.
Seen a few people saying about people like about Simon Jordan and going on, like, we don't go on TalkSport. If you want to listen to TalkSport, that's up to you. And if you want to get outraged about it, we don't. I got a message yesterday asking me to go on Talk TV. Not a fucking chance. Not a chance on earth. You know, I don't believe any Evertonian should go on those channels. But if they want to, that's up to them. But certainly not going to go on and discuss it. If you want to take that, but if it's, let's see what happens. And again, if it's 9 million, that might be 9 million. Everton go, what are you talking about? We've got buybacks. It's up to the Premier League to say, no, that doesn't count.
Danny says Peter Johnson was mentioned over the speakers, including reference to our 95 cup victory.
Well, I was in the stadium. I was in the stadium from 1:10 and I never heard a peep. Never heard a peep.
Martin says it was mentioned as well. I didn't hear it, but I didn't get it. I don't get it until.
What I mean is, what I'm talking about is actual respect, not just doing it like 20 minutes before kickoff or 15 minutes before kickoff, because people aren't in their seats.
Oh, well, I got in it. I got in as the siren went into. So why wasn't it mentioned?
I was in my seat. I was in my seat at 1:50, but I was downstairs having a coffee from 1:10, and I never heard it mentioned. That what I'm talking about is real respect to a former chairman, not just putting it out there while the stadium's half empty. I'm talking about real respect for someone who was a chairman of our football club.
Just on the way football is, Geordie Tune for Life says he doesn't go off anything on social media, and he's with any fans who are fighting against the cartel. But what he says is, for Newcastle's FA Cup game, it's Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff, and there's no trains back to Newcastle.
Who are they playing?
Can't remember. Who are you playing again? Let me have a look. FA Cup, what is it, 4th round, isn't it?
The announcement, by the way, won't be till probably after 4.
Fulham away. 7 o'clock on a Saturday night.
There you go.
No trains.
There you go.
There you go. That sums up the whole thing. Now, that's not necessarily the Premier League, is it? That's the FA. But they literally don't care. They do not care about supporters. The Premier League have decided, whoever's come up with it, it's a business plan, isn't it? And listen, I always had that horrible feeling that Everton, as you do, of course, if you're your own club, I'd always think we are getting stitched up here. Other clubs get away with this stuff or whatever for whatever reason, and I couldn't really understand it, and couldn't understand why the so-called bigger clubs kept getting these decisions. And then I seen that Scudamore interview when he said about Manchester United finishing 7th was a disaster for football. And they have to be in the top 4 next season. And the next year they get 15 penalties or whatever it is, and they're back in the top 4. And when you've got someone, he could have said, it's, obviously we've got big clubs, but he didn't have to say it was a disaster, because you're trying to then put your personal view on a competition. He should have been saying, look at the Premier League and how competitive it is that one of our biggest clubs in the world finished 7th. And he should have been celebrating that. And he wasn't. Yeah. He was almost mournful from the fact that they'd fallen outside of it. And then I started thinking, hang on. Yeah. And he's like, well, that's just the way it is. It's a business plan. And then when you look at it that way, you go, well, yeah, their business plans dependent on Liverpool, Manchester United. Of
course it is.
Being in the top 4. Manchester, obviously City. Chelsea, they'd like Chelsea to be in there. Spurs, because they're the fans who bring the big numbers in. They don't want Villa. They might like Newcastle for a season, and they might like Villa for a season, like they like Leicester for a season. But they
what they like is boxing promoters.
Yeah,
they're like boxing promoters. So
it.
they've got the champ there. Big fella, amazing. Love this fella. Got the next 4 fights planned out. When he loses, this fella got his whole. What a guy! Got his whole career mapped out.
Not if he's not sellable though.
No, but that's what they do, though, isn't it? You know, Don King used to do it all the time. He used to, this fella, and then they go over to, we've got huge plans for this fella. That's what they do.
Martin Green, it isn't though, is it? It isn't boring going on about mitigating circumstances. It isn't. They are facts. How can you have something that goes right for 3 years there, even though that debt was getting smaller and smaller, so therefore you're improving year on year, right? We're doing you for that, right? Okay. You're doing us for that because we failed. I think you'll find if you go back to whenever it was, November, we sat here and said, we're not excusing Everton, by the way. Yeah. Everton have made their balls up at this. They've been ran poorly. Blah. It was how many points we got deducted, right? We haven't absolved Everton of any blame here. But what they're then doing is going, right, we've punished you. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to punish you again for 66% of the same that we've punished you for. But using, and that 66% is already in your pocket to punish you again for the next season. That's not fair. In my opinion, you might have a totally different view on it. Fine, no problem with it. Got zero problem with it. But when you're punished for 2 years and then them 2 years are thrown into your next punishment, I'd love to know
what the breakdown is, because let's say it is 9 million. What if the 9 million comes from the first 2 years that we've already been punished for?
It's mad, mate. It's mad. And the fact there's no clear guidelines to it anyway, and the fact that these rules, as Richie Keys, whether you like Richie Keys or you don't like Richie Keys, he was saying, and I had an issue with him saying the 10 points he agreed with, because that was nonsense as well, the way he come up with that. But what he was saying was, you can't do Everton and then these rules are gone. Because how do you do that? How does that work? We're just going to punish you now to make a stand. But, you know, in August, when City aren't going to be playing by them rules, so they can do whatever, or whoever moving forward. It can't be done like that. It just can't be. If Everton, if Everton, and they will be, found breach today, then maybe, I don't know, maybe the punishment should be a suspended sentence then. So then points are suspended. If Everton have breached it and there's no way around it and whatever, then those points maybe should hang over Everton if they fail it again. And if they fail it again, you're getting, then we fail it. We know we've got, well, there's 6 points gone because we knew we'd fail it. Or a 22-man squad. 22-man squad means you've got 3 21s and that's it. That's who you use.
I just can't.
It's got to be. It can't be point. You can't just keep taking points off teams.
I
it
just
doesn't
can't
make sense.
believe football teams agreed to this. I just can't believe that teams agreed to a rolling 3-year thing.
It's crazy.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely crazy.
Because ultimately, the football clubs have to agree on these things. They have to vote on them. I can't believe they agreed to
give some teams more money than others, mate. Robert Jones on the Super Chat says, glad we have you two to get us through this mental roller coaster that supporting Everton is. It's at the Premier League's discretion whether to punish the same PSR breaches twice or not. Hopefully they'll choose the latter. Yeah, Rob, it is that. You are correct. Everton mightn't get any punishment because it is at their discretion. And I have spoken to a couple of people who seem to think points deductions off the table this time. But I don't know what it might be, a fine or it might be suspended, or I don't know. And again, like Ped said before, we couldn't say with any conviction there will be, there won't be anyway, because someone could phone me now and go, I've just spoke to Richard Masters at the thing, Everton definitely aren't getting a points deduction. I wouldn't believe it. I'd go, I'll wait for the announcements at 3, and then the announcement comes at 3 and they've been given a 40-point deduction. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Said.
But you're absolutely correct. It's at their discretion what they do this time with this. We'll have to wait and see.
James Sweeney on the Super Set says, well, I'm going to watch some championship matches, scout out the competition for next season.
You know what, mate? You'll actually enjoy the championship matches because they all have a good. There's no VAR. The players give everything. And it's not the way the Premier League is. There's no script before the game of what has to happen in a game. Richard Masters isn't like, quick, I've got some money here or whatever. Because it's just nonsense now. It's not even footy anymore. It's not football. We've done nearly an hour. We haven't mentioned the game of football.
No, but
That's where we're up to right now. It's just a joke.
Wasn't worth me.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Who
knows? We might get like a 2-point deduction, and Forest might get 10, and we stay up because of Forest got a 8 points deduction.
Then we get some back because the first one was over.
I just can't wait to the final game of the season, and we've all put our appeals in, and nobody knows what's happening, and it'll be the biggest joke for the Premier League ever. If on the last game, well, they should care because their product will be getting damaged. Sky Sports will be
getting damaged all season.
Sky Sports will be sitting there going, we don't know who's been relegated, who hasn't been relegated. You could have like say 5 teams in limbo on the last day of the season, not knowing what's happened to them.
The whole thing's farcical, isn't it? It's absolutely farcical. Solis says, how is it fair that Everton can get punished once and then get punished again by using 2/3 of the first punishment? Essentially getting punished twice for the first one. Yeah, that's the way it is. And I know people can go, well, it's rolling and that's what it is. Yeah, but that to me is just, I just find it ridiculous. I really do. And other people mightn't. Other people might go, well, you knew it. I just find it absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But we'll have to see. And again,
it's just stupid.
It's my issue.
It could take you 3 years to clean up your act. Do you know what I mean? You're talking about things like contracts. The length of contracts. It could take you 3 years to clean house and clean up your act. You can't just sell everybody. You can't just sell everybody at once. You've got no team.
Well,
you have to. I seen something on Twitter before about like a financial expert. I can't believe Everton didn't sell more players. Yeah, mate, because you need a team. You can't just go and sell.
And you need buyers.
Oh yeah,
you need someone to buy your players.
Like, let's just let this player go. Yeah, but we'll still have to give him his money, and it'll, it's.
It was the same when I had a chat with David Ornstein. Everton sold Luca Dean and then spent that money on Mikalenko and Patterson. I was like, David, with all due respect, he didn't. And I gave him the breakdown, and then he messaged back and was like, "Oh yeah, so they cleared 21 million in profits, yeah." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So, yeah, but you've already gone on a programme and said it like as if a thingy. Why didn't they just use a left back out the youth team? What? And go down and lose 60, 70 million pound? Yeah. Come on. Yeah. They're already cutting and cutting and cutting. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Football clubs will always take their chances.
Of course they will.
They'll always take their chances and say, why would you go, oh, we better sell this player?
Isn't there only 3 clubs in the Premier League who've made a profit? Something like that. So that means 17 million.
But a football club
aren't.
A football club will work to whatever. They'll do their best to manage it. But at the end of the day, if someone says you need to sell this player, the manager turn around and go, no, we'll take our chances. Who's to say we don't stay up by 15 points and then they charge us with 10-point deduction and we're safe? Or if we'd sold our striker who scores 25 goals a season, we'll be gone anyway. Football, they'll always look to the nature of what the actual game is, which is to win games. You can't be relying on this third. Everton we could be sitting here now going, well, we only got a 3-point deduction. Or we hadn't got any points deduction. We've got a huge fine or a transfer embargo, and thinking, right, we're sorting ourselves out, but actually we're fine this season. We're sitting on 27 points, and it'll be okay. And we know we've done wrong, and we're aiming to not do it again. No one thought a 10-point deduction was going to be handed out. No one thought it was going to be that
I thought
extreme.
The worst case scenario would be suspended, and then that's a thing. Now, as it happens, we'd end up losing 6 points anyway, because I thought we might get 6 points suspended, and then if we fail again, we get that 6 points. Okay, but the irony of that, Ped, is that we'd still be 4 points better off.
Yeah.
So we would have had the failure. We would have had everyone kicking our ass. We would have had that story everywhere. We'd have had the 6 points suspended, and then we'd have failed the next one and got the 6 points. Yeah. So we would have been punished in that. But I just don't. They went so crazy with the first punishment that now, for me, they can't be even thinking about giving Everton any more points. But who knows?
James Sweeney on the Super Chat says, I should have got some sleep coming from New Zealand at 2:58 a.m.
Oh,
Not
my
worth
God.
getting no sleep.
No, you're right. It isn't where. Listen, you can't change it, can you? You can't affect it. And
Also,
we can't.
There's already outlets on the internet saying Everton going to get a 6 point. There's no points deduction today. There will be a charge, and then Everton will face an independent commission like they did the first time.
Hang on. Well, why is it different then? Because the first time we got the charge, we got the points on that day as well.
No, but we didn't. No, we didn't. We got charged, and then we got
and 10 points. We didn't.
No, we got charged, and then we went to an independent commission, and then we got the.
Sorry,
points.
you're right. We did.
We're not going to an independent commission today, are we?
Yeah. 4 weeks it is, isn't it? I'm thinking of the time scale. What I've seen, 4 weeks before they sit. Then it's 4 weeks for you to lodge an appeal. Then it's 4 weeks for the appeal to be heard, and then it's 4 weeks for. So it finishes after the season, doesn't it?
If anything has been proved, is that nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything. Because people were saying we were getting a 12-point deduction for the first one, and it was 10. No one knows anything. That's because there's people out there just making it up as it goes along.
Football Insider knows less than my dead nan. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I can't believe anybody even clicks on it. The absolute numpties. 2 kids in the bedroom. Just bin it off. Block it. Bin it. It's nonsense. I haven't seen them get anything right. They're awful. Bin it. The independent commission, excuse me, isn't the same as last time. Different people. Totally different people. Yeah, and that's where we are, isn't it? We'll fail today. We'll get told we've been charged again today, and we'll just have to go with it. We'll have to go with it and see what happens, because it's what it is, isn't it? It is what it is.
Dance1211 says, what would happen if the appeal is successful after we are possibly relegated, get our points back and finish 16th, but still in the Championship? No, we would be in the Premier League. That's what they've said. They've said that anything that happens will happen within the season, aren't they? So the appeal would happen after. That's what I'm saying. The appeal would happen after the end of the season, but no one would know on the last day of the season what has actually happened if it works out.
Mad. It's all mad. Right. We're going to go. Yeah. Obviously, we'll probably be back.
Yeah.
When? Well, we will be when we know when we've had confirmation, we'll be back. And we'll discuss it in more detail then. But for right now, there's not really much more to say on it, is there? Don't read Football Insiders 1.
Ned. That's Ned and Cam's.
Ned and Cam's account. Ned and Cam's account. Yeah. Sauces, yeah. You'd have barbecue and another mayo. Like we're going. So make sure. We can't do them. We haven't got time, Jane, because I'd love to be going over to Modern again now, but we've got to do the final word and all that, and then we're back on it. It just ain't happening today. It's just one of them things. Right. Take it easy. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and look out, because we will be back once we have confirmation of Everton being charged again.
See you in a bit.
See you later.